Hot takes. I feel like we need a theme tune by now. I was saying to Dan, to the rest of the group that's watching this, that we should have an episode of us trying to create a jingle. But I guess we could use those sound effects, Dan.
Yeah, that's true. So basically built into Riverside FM, there are some sound effects that I can play. Let me turn down the volume of the sound effect and then you can hear it come in. So you would have an intro like this. And then we'd be like, welcome to the Doorstop podcast. Riverside. Oh no, we're not powered by Riverside, we're powered by Doorstop. And then it goes into its 25 seconds later. So this is a long intro, but I don't know. It does say upload audio and video files. So I wonder if you can just press it to play a video on top of who we are and what we are, and then it'd be fine. But maybe we should have a Don't Be a Doorstop theme song competition. I want it kind of to be like a jingle of a phone call. You know, the 0800 1066 Hastings Direct style thing. Maybe we need to come up with a phone number as well.
I was thinking of
call in.
I was messing around with GarageBand.
Yeah.
And Bloomin' Heck, it's actually really good fun because they basically got this. This is proper winging it, like this beat pad. So you could select the beat and then it'll just roam around through that beat. I can't load at the moment. Otherwise,
like
it would
programmatically put together a rhythm, and then hopefully
so
you
it's
can
like
just
a line, and then you fill in the line. So it'd be like, doof, 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 and then you'd be like,
yeah.
And it would, doof, doof, doof. But then it's like it's got multiple layers and stuff, and it's super basic, but it's really interesting. Maybe we could have like an 8-bit. Like Sonic the Hedgehog like theme or something, or Mario or something.
And I was thinking, hopefully you could switch out those sounds to be something different. I'm like, if there is a music producer or a music artist listening now,
create a song out of drum, out of hitting with a hammer.
Yes.
So
there's two parts to it.
Guess
one, using a hammer to do it, because they actually did it in the Red Hot Chili Peppers song. They were actually clanging these like metal trays with hammers. The second thing is whether or not you can include a door being shut in the podcast. So it'd be like da 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 da, and it would finish off with an echoey door slam.
I've got a question for you,
because we've removed the doorstop and therefore it slams.
Some of the if you hear some song within anything that you're doing, I'll give an example in a second. Do you have to finish it off or sing it in your brain? So, for example, when I knock my spoon against the cup of to basically get rid of the drags off the spoon, I'll go, but for some reason in my brain it goes din, diddle-in, diddle-in, or something. It's like I add on a song. No, was it that song? I'll have to do it now. I can't even remember what it was.
Oh, was it?
No, I think it is that one, because I remember it being an old rock song that you guys used to play as Roadkill. So I think it must have been.
There was a song. Oh yeah,
it's that song. So every time I hear that, it's the start of that song.
Oh, the count in. Yeah. I was thinking there might have been another song that comes to mind, which is White Stripes. You know, the and the video is the drummer moving along, but I can't remember the verse or the chorus of it. I just remember it was as they're like bumping along. But yeah, maybe it is the rock song. Yeah, actually nobody knows that we're music artists ourselves. So Tom plays piano and drums.
Rookie.
Reluctantly and rarely. And then I'm a drummer. That's it for me.
But yeah, I think my not necessarily hot take. I feel like what is it? I think we need like a hot take as if it's like something interesting that we want to share, but then like a hot head as if you're angry with something that you want to share about or something. We need like a differentiating word to basically be two things. So my hot head of fury is the fact that I can't connect my iPhone to my laptop. This is first world problems right here.
So you can be as
so
HD
I can have
as me.
high quality camera to help the people that are watching this. Because I'm a blurry mess right now, as if I'm recording off some Nokia 3310. I know that doesn't have a camera, but people will recognize the reference. So that is my hot head. So for some reason, I could connect the speaker, so I could speak to my phone for Dan to listen, but not the camera, the bit that I actually care about. So I'll have to contact the company's Kickoff, because it works. It works with FaceTime, it works with Zoom, it works with Google Meet. So I've tried it on multiple platforms, but there's some sort of blockage somewhere in the system. So I don't know if it's in the settings or privacy settings. So I just need to mess about with it a bit more to suss out. But yeah, if you know it, let us know.
So my hot head is, I've forgotten. I've literally, when you like, I remembered it and then I've let it go too far. I should have interrupted you to be like, and my hot head is, what was it going to be?
I've obviously calmed you down by mine.
That's it. My hot head is my AirPods. Basically, AirPods. I've got these AirPods. I think they're AirPods 2. Their audio quality is so poor. Okay, depending on where you watch this, like 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, but really yesterday or 2 days ago when we recorded the last podcast, it was all through my AirPods. And I'm so annoyed because you buy all this like decent equipment to kind of improve the quality so there's less distractions. And it all went through my AirPods and I was so annoyed because that's like AirPod quality for audio. Like the microphone on AirPods is awful. So that's my hot head.
I don't think they've improved the pros that much on the audio.
And hopefully that it will get better because the microphone's poor. So then you have to end up investing into something better. Or even your iPhone headphones has a better microphone in it than AirPods to some extent. But,
that's why I've dropped down to here because I guess the mic just lines up with your mouth a little bit more. I mean,
there's some rubbing and stuff going on, but I mean, people can put up with that to some extent. So you just got to, not move around too much to some degree.
Be static.
Yeah. So a hot take or something interesting. I have finally bought some mugs that have the words "Don't be a doorstop" on it, and we're going to give away mugs. So I think if you write as a theme song,
away from it throughout.
Well, it's not arrived yet. This is hot off the press. It's literally being delivered as we speak. So if you come up with a jingle for us, we will send you a Don't Be a Doorstop mug. And if you can include a door slam or a hammer, then we will interview you on Don't Be a Doorstop and also give you a mug. Yeah, so if you can include both a hammer and a closing door in the theme, then we'll interview you. You can appear on our podcast. And if you're unable to do that... So do you have
a closing date? Or is this open-ended for 20 years that someone will contact us in 20 years' time and create a jingle?
Well, maybe I'd quite like to do it in the next kind of, for the new year. For 2023, it would be great. But I think that might be too quick because actually I think this podcast is probably going to come out next week. Which is
2 weeks' time because we've already recorded next week.
Oh, yeah. So this is going to be like too close. So why don't we say like Operation January is a theme song? So
jingle.
Basically Jingle January, lol. Jingle January, you will win a prize. You will win a mug for the best jingle. And if it includes a hammer sound and a door closing sound, we'll interview you. You can be featured on the podcast and we'll ask you all about your purpose.
So do you have an image of what it should look like, this mug, that you can reveal?
So the image,
the appetite.
So the image is a large white mug with blue writing on it. Because I thought, you probably have white mugs already. Will blend in with all the others. And then it's got this blue punchy writing. I thought about black mugs, but then I was like, then it has white writing on it. Might not stand out as contrasty as, blue writing because we want to stand out above the rest. So I've purchased 10 mugs. So basically, I will ultimately send you one at some point because that'll be the brightest part of our wardrobe. The Welsh football tops is a bit of red, and then the blue of the mugs, and then the black caps and t-shirts that we wear in between that. So
I did change my jumper today.
Yeah, there are mugs on the way. Yeah, that's it. Feel pressure, basically. There are mugs on the way. And also, at some point, we'll basically produce T-shirts and probably other stuff at some point. Yeah, an empire.
We'll produce Rome soon.
Yeah, some caps and some T-shirts to go down. So yeah, that's the Jingle January. Will be the competition, and then at the end of January 31st, we'll choose the winner.
Nice.
And hopefully we'll be able to import it in, and then we'll be able to add it to all the.
I feel that person that's applying should also like and subscribe.
Yeah, so if you've not liked or subscribed or starred or hearted or whatever platform you're currently listening or watching on, then please do, because it definitely helps us be able to feed into other people's ears with our conversations and our football commentary. Or lack of football commentary.
Yeah, there's no football on today. Semi-finals have been coming up to finals.
So I'm going to take us in a different direction. So basically, off the back of, we were talking Welsh or thinking about talking Welsh on the podcast and stuff. I'm also very much wanting to create Welsh IP, Welsh intellectual property, or Welsh content, because like we said a couple of weeks back, the number of Welsh speakers have dropped, and predominantly they're dropping at the kind of after school, right? So you'll be speaking in school, you'll be speaking Welsh in school or learning Welsh in school. But as soon as you come out of that, there's no like professional needs or great needs for Welsh. So it starts to wear off, and then you just use it less and less. Even us, right? I don't use Welsh day to day, so naturally I don't use it as much. Naturally, I then become rustier as time goes on, and then I feel less confident, which then means I don't want to get into situations where I'm forced to speak Welsh because I'm concerned or I have this like worry or whatever. So there's some really good social videos and social series and little online videos and stuff on S4C, because they have their like Stunch. Is it Stunch or what? I think that's the younger one. What's the other one called?
It starts with a H.
Hanch.
Something.
Okay, they have a branding issue. So yeah, Hanch. I think it is Hanch. So Hanch and then Stunch is their like younger version. So they've got some great social content and great concepts that they feed into S4C. So S4C is the Welsh channel, and Hanch and Stunch are kind of like their age demographics perspectives on stuff. So the Hanch stuff is like more our age. I assume that it kind of is broadly 16 to 24 or 16 to 35. I don't know, broadly in there. And one of their dating shows that they came up with, which was a Tisha Fork, right? So fork as in you eat with a fork, and also, you know, the word for effing. I was like, do I say this or not? I know mum's watching. The F word for having sex. So basically, you have this like table where there's two heads or spaces for heads to pop out the table with things. Yeah. Now that TV show is funny because it's a different take on like the dating idea, and you reveal their heads, and then the heads speak to each other. And then if they want to see each other's bodies, and then they see each other's bodies, and then they're like, do we want to go on a date? And then we record it, right? That then goes on socials and also the TV channel itself, which is great. There's another one that's like a petrol heads kind of thing, and they talk about car races. The presenter from this like Tisha Fark is also doing an ADHD documentary because she has ADHD, which is fascinating. And I'm like, oh, I'd love to also kind of contribute something interesting and creative and a challenge to me and hopefully to you as well to do something in Welsh, which would improve our Welsh. Because again, what's the point of having muscles if you never use them? You'll never get better. You'll never get stronger. So why not use that stuff? So I was trying to figure out what would be a good idea for a Welsh, like social snippets and stuff. And I think business ideas would be one, or like purpose. Because I was, again, off the back of our chat with AI, I was asking AI, like, what Welsh TV program could I put together that fits to 16 to 24-year-olds? And what are the challenges that 16 to 24-year-olds have? And there's stuff about relationship, there's stuff about purpose, there's stuff about careers, all right? And I feel the thing that jumps out to me, I'm not so interested in doing the relationship part personally. I'm more interested in the purpose, like finding your purpose and figuring out what you need to do. And then the second part is like the pressures of school and all that stuff, because they kind of tie into each other. So I was thinking, if there's like a 15-second Welsh, not Dragon's Den, because again, Welsh people, I think there's a 50-50 split. Typically, what's really easy to do is replicate what was already created, because we know that it works. So, for example, Dragon's Den, if we just made a Welsh version of Dragon's Den, that would go down well. But also, there's another 50% of that audience who'd be like, ugh, why are we not coming up with our own creative ideas? We have to copy, something or be inspired by. So I think to me, it's like, how do I come up with something uniquely different? One idea would be I pitch, like elevator pitch style business ideas and how I would get my first couple of customers.
Instead of Dragon's Den, you should call it Lion's Den, and it's just like roasting someone of their bad business idea. Not investing, just roasting them.
Well, maybe it's like, tear them apart. Maybe like, again, people like comedy, right? And stuff done in an intellectual way with some kind of, satire or sarcastic nature or something. So you could be like, okay, do the reverse opposite. So sometimes, when someone says, when someone draws something really badly, you'll be like, oh no, give it here, I'll draw something, which has basically then got you into a state of drawing something where you wouldn't have drawn something before. It's because you've seen something bad, you want to correct it. In the same way, like we spoke before, if you see an advert and the game is being played badly, you're more likely to download it to play it well, because there's some injustice of the fact that it's going wrong. So could it be that we create an injustice of a 15-second TikTok or an Instagram video or a tweet, which has a video of basically somebody pitching an idea and pitching how they would get their first 10 customers. And it's a stupid idea, but it makes sense. Like, it's logical, right?
Yeah.
But then I'm wondering, then, do you create a persona? So in the Welsh community or TV world, there was this football show thing where there's this guy with this mustache and the glasses, and he's like, and then like a bit nervous and a bit like socially awkward and stuff, and that becomes a character. But I'm like, actually, if I become a character, then I have to carry on the character, and it would be like, oh well, we want your character to turn up at this TV show thing rather than you, and actually I want it to be effortless. So how do I make it in line with something that we're doing already? And also whether or not you don't want to be associated with bad business ideas, but you could come up with funny business ideas that still are like plausible, right?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that I'm like, I really want to do more Welsh stuff, and maybe creating social videos and getting commissioned to do videos or some series that fits in line with what we're already doing. But what would you do or what kind of stuff do you see? Because you like the Sidemen and all this stuff. So it's not necessarily replicating their stuff, but it's like taking what they do well and kind of coming up with our own iteration, which fits better with Welsh culture and the uniqueness of being Welsh.
I think for living in Wales, I would probably the things that have popped to mind. I've not reviewed this, so it'll be interesting. Is I would see who's successful at the moment on the Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube, on a speaking Welsh or Wenglish version. Don't go down the TV route, just go down the socials route to find out who do people know. Because I think when people say KSI or Logan Paul or whatever, they're on YouTube, but then they're slowly affecting the boxing world and now the manufacturing world with their drinks and that type of thing. And it's a different world to some extent, the YouTube world, compared to the TV world. So much so that even YouTubers are like, if TV asked for them to be on like proper production shows, they're more likely to say no, because they should have bought into it like 10 years ago when it was slowly getting bigger, or 15 years or whenever. So I definitely go down the social routes to find out who is the talent at the moment, like what is the trend of the language. And then I'd probably partner with probably our primary and secondary school, because I can imagine their buy-in to be more, to see if you could have some sort of focusy group thing of how do you get content for people that might have parents that are not just Welsh, but Welsh and English, because really it's helping the people that have that. They might be speaking English at home, but really it's only because English everyone understands, but actually Welsh you want to keep going. Because actually if you speak in Welsh at home, you wouldn't necessarily need the content as much because you're constantly speaking it. So I think for us, we spoke English at home, but mum's really good at speaking Welsh and learned English when she was 7 or whatever. Dad understands Welsh, but is definitely learning to like talk it and have the confidence in it. So if you created content for more people on the fence, moving them into confidence in Welsh, I would say more so. And then you can drill down into, because I guess most like Welshies would either have those friends or have the processes to be have confidence in the language through talking, or they might have their certain shows on S4C or YouTubers that they follow, but it's actually building sort of like a funnel for people that don't have that to then have that content. So like I came across like a Welsh football podcast. I've not listened to it in a while, but it was basically the main guy that's on Scoria, or two of the main guys from Scoria, the younger one and the older one, and it's a good little mix that they have of just literally doing their podcast. It's a verbal one, or to my knowledge, I think it's just a verbal one on
an audio one,
Apple, like audio one, and non-video. But it works well because you just practice listening to Welsh. And I think what would be really interesting is by creating more content, you can create regional content. Because just like on English television, you've got Made in Chelsea, but you've also got Only Way is Essex. Even though they're both in the south, both close-ish together, they use their languages and slang completely different. I think for S4C, one thing I've noticed when I used to watch Scoria, it's the main guy that used to do it, I don't know if he still does it the most, was someone from South Wales. So I actually used to struggle with some of his stuff. But the podcast I listened to, I think the two guys are technically originally from North Wales, even though I think they've had to go down South Wales to then be part of like different types of football or move around because of their football careers. But I feel like I understand their stuff a lot more because they originated from North Wales. So I think it's creating sort of regional based content.
Yeah, and that's, I think, so there's two things that are like jumped out. One is make it so it blends with like the learner's side of stuff. So for example, Welsh, like if we say like Welsh people that speak Welsh at home are probably already got their content streams. And really what you want is kind of people like me and you that have predominantly got English content and are a bit like nervous or not confident or have lost confidence in our ability to, one, understand Welsh content, and two, kind of like engage with Welsh content. Like I always find writing Welsh tweets or whatever so difficult to do because just default your I rely so much on autocorrect in the English one. I'm like struggling to write it out, right? So yeah, creating content that kind of blurs the gap between a learner and somebody that's kind of, yeah, more so on the English content being brought into Welsh content. And then the second thing that you were saying about, can't remember now, I've gone too deeply into the first point.
Partnering with primary schools and secondary schools.
The North Wales, the dialects.
Regional.
Stuff. The regional, North Wales, South Wales. There's something about hearing a North Wales accent to me, or a North Wales Welsh accent is more relatable because it's like, oh, I can relax. It's a bit easier. It kind of like matches the tone and the kind of like the pitch, rather than when it's South Wales. You're right. It is a little bit more like I have to be a little bit more intentional with kind of listening out to it. And a Gogglebox is a great example of the breadth of like dialects dialects because they say different words meaning the same stuff, but also like the accents of them all. So I would say typically, even your experience in sport, South has had, typically speaking, the more investment, more focus, more kind of like intensity of content creation and investment. So naturally that's the prominent kind of like S4C version of Welsh, is more so the Southern dialect. And it's not so much the North, but that is obviously changing over time. And I think it'd be interesting to have a balance of, you know, kind of North Walian speakers creating content. But yeah, like what would you actually create though? Yeah, what would you actually create?
What would I actually create? Side women.
Yeah, side men, side women. Have them side swiping at guys. Yeah.
I don't know. I think for me, it's like, could you create some sort of platform that you can select a region to then know what sort of content that you're getting? So it's as if you click on Conway or you click on the north or south or whatever to then regionalize the content that you're getting, to then how do you promote others? Some sort of filter to then help you find the people that are on YouTube or whatever that might be doing good stuff. Because I think the difficulty with YouTube, I'm assuming the algorithm is more focused on English or English speaking things, especially if you listen to stuff that's in English. It's not necessarily going to promote the Welsh stuff, but it's like, how do you, I guess, find content that's out there that's Welsh? So then the people that are in those spaces gets more influence or even just finances that they might be able to do it full time or part time or whatever that maybe they've always dreamed on. But then it's sort of going, how would you engage with probably like secondary schools of them brainstorming ideas of what they need in life? I think for me, it's like, I've always relied on technology for my dyslexia, either for it to be read out to me or to help me with spelling. But it's like making sure those sorts of technology is in the Welsh space. Like even like we're talking about AI last week or in our timeline yesterday. And it's like, is there a Welsh AI on Welsh culture that, or even a Winglish AI that can flip in between it? I don't know. Maybe there is stuff out there, but that's the thing.
So Bangor University are doing a lot of stuff around this stuff, as well as probably Cardiff University. They've done a lot of like Welsh related AI or Welsh related like assistance, as it were.
And that's the thing. It's
I think it's called Maxen, I think.
Doing research to find the stuff. It's like, how do you remove the research that you can find the stuff way more easier? Because I think I can type on YouTube, done, and it's got everything because it's sort of English driven. So it's easier to find because you know exactly what words to do and you know how to use YouTube because it's been part of your life the whole time. Is there something in the Welsh community that you're like, oh yeah, we've always used this website throughout our life, through our Welsh speaking language? Probably not, because it's like, you use Facebook, you use Bebo, you use MSN or WhatsApp or whatever, which are all English driven. I know you can change obviously the keyboard to Welsh in iPhones. I know you can transition something like some apps into Welsh. I think Facebook now you can change into Welsh. But it's like, do people do that? Or do they have the confidence because they're so used to the English version that it's sort of, well, I'm used to this now, so I know where everything is. It's easier from a quick glance, you know what it's written without even needing to read it, like confidence level.
Yeah, I think the TikToks that are interesting, like 5 things you didn't know about your iPhone or whatever, right? So it's like insightful technology, accessibility stuff could be one route. Another thing is like general explainers about like history, like horrible histories used to be a good thing that existed, where they make it entertaining about learning something reasonably boring, although very impactful. Because if you were going to be like, tomorrow you wake up as the prime minister, you're basically like, right, what I would do first is get a bunch of historians to be like, tell me what we've done in the past, what's worked and what's not worked. Right? So like history is a good thing. Obviously, we know it's a particular narrative, so there's that as well. You have to balance it all out. So maybe it is like the additional stories that are not being told in the mainstream or something, like the YouTube, the Netflix explainer stuff. So whenever some of my processes, when I want input on creative ideas, I'll be like, right, I've come up with this stuff. And second thing, I'll be like, Kimmer, hey, what kind of like content would you like to see in like on your socials? You know, we end up creating it as Welsh content. It needs to be unique. It needs to be different, all this stuff. Like, what do you think? So then that's that about. And then the next part is like, I chime into the family WhatsApp being like, hey, what can we create that could fit into this stuff? And there were ideas around, you know, like the Netflix explainer stuff, taking a subject, breaking it down. They're always really good and very animated and things like that. Or like quizzes. I was thinking that you could do like a murder mystery Cluedo type thing, but in Welsh. You know, we all like doing the Wordle stuff. Well, I don't do the Wordle, but the Wordle thing was created and there's a Welsh version of Wordle. People like solving puzzles. Maybe that'd be interesting. And then I thought back to, do you remember there was this quiz game that happened every night at 8 p.m. or something. For the UK, it would happen at 8 p.m. And you would join on, and there'd be this presenter and be like, hey, welcome to tonight's quiz. So if you answer the questions, basically people around the world are playing right now. And as you answer the questions, there's more people that get cut off. And then the winner will win a cash prize. And it was called something, and people would join on to it to try and answer these questions. Now, you could basically convert an Instagram video, an Instagram reel or a TikTok reel into a quiz, where you'd basically get them to like answer a question, but they're not answering the question. It's like a timed thing. So you'd be like, what's the capital of Wales? And then it's like tick, tock. And then there's like 2 answers, right? The answer is Swansea or Cardiff. And it'd be a way to, and then it counts down and there's like, cool, the answer is Cardiff. Like, did you know? Blah, 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 blah. Like that could be interesting, an interesting mechanism, because like you might want to hang on to like, oh yeah, what is this stuff? Or like a quiz type thing. So it's quick and easy to do, and the mechanism is already there because you're just asking a question or asking a fact or something like that. But it needs to be like it needs to be interesting and fascinating potentially. So
I was impressed with the Welcome to Wrexham documentary, how it was weaved in between like Wrexham, but also Wales, but also history, language, food. And I think it is that element of going, I would have loved to have way more content of like history, maybe even tourism, because I think that's probably a big deal. History and tourism in video format. Whilst I was going through school, I probably would have took history way more seriously rather than some boring books explained about Henry VIII, that it's like, okay, it's cool knowing about Henry VIII, but why do I need to know that? What's the relevance of that? Actually, when the Queen died and then it was handed off, the Prince of Wales got handed down from Charles to William. Like there was a YouTube trending on my thing that was basically explaining why is it Prince of Wales, why is it under basically the King or Queen, and the process of that. And I was like, never knew that. Watched the video that was like 5 to 10 minutes of explaining the whole process of the battles and then how it came across, and that's why it's still a touchy subject, because there's a lot of build up of pain and difficulties and that type of thing. I thought it was fascinating, but again, that was all narrated in English. It'd been interesting, just that in Welsh would have been cool, because it's very good at how it explained it through like drawings and videos and stuff.
And I think for me, I want it to be super easy, in line with what I'm already doing, so it doesn't feel like a chore. And I think having something animated out or something heavily researched is harder to do. Now, of course, we do need it still, but it's kind of like, what would you and I do that's within our remit without overstretching? Because it could be
dubbing YouTubes.
Yeah, it could be that we watch
Sideman.
Yeah, do a Welsh translation.
Yeah, just do like a TikTok talk over, but in Welsh for like famous.
But it wouldn't be
TikToks.
Sidemen, it'd be Dynion Ochor.
Yeah.
Dynion Side, yeah, Ochor. Right?
Ochor Dynion.
Yeah, Dynion
But I
Ochor.
guess it would be funny. I guess you'd have the Winglish one of like a bit of mixture, and then you'd have the Welsh one. And that's the thing is you go, oh, actually, I find Welsh really difficult. It'd be funny if you created Winglish, Welsh and English as a language as part of your content to teach people how to speak Welsh. Because then it's like, oh, I get this. Like, I speak Winglish at home because one speaks English, one speaks Welsh. So actually this makes more sense to build my confidence, because this is the realm that I'm used to, rather than everyone speaks Welsh or everyone speaks English. How do you build into that?
Yeah, there was a great podcast. So there's this lady called Melanie. I can't remember her surname, but she's a presenter.
Wasn't Spice Girls, was it?
No. This Welsh lady. So she's been presenting all the farming stuff, and then she shifted to do, well, I think she was doing the farming stuff, and then also did a podcast about Love Island, and they were calling it Ynys Melys, right? Like Sweet Island, something. And they came up with this theme song for it, and it was just her and her friend, just like, they're going to chat about it anyway, so we might as well record it. And they were literally just having a Wenglish, mostly Welsh, like a Wenglish chat about Love Island. And I was like, that's great because I know the concept and I know the idea, and I'm just ingesting this like Love Island chat stuff, which makes sense to me, and it's just in Welsh. And I like it because it's like, oh, I've ticked the, hey, don't forget to use your Welsh somehow, somewhere. And even if it's just a case of ingesting and understanding, just so you could like exercise the brain of understanding, because I think we can understand, I can understand far more than I can speak again, annoyingly, but it comes with the muscle of, if I start speaking, more things come back to me, and more random things, like more like science related random stuff. And the language and stuff comes back to me as I start speaking it out. So
yeah, I guess comment below what we should build, part of our empire.
Not only are we asking, hey, help us create a theme song with hammers and doors included in it, and we'll send you a mug and
Welsh
also
hammers and doors.
Yeah, they have to be made from Wales. Yeah, it has to include a love spoon. And then it's like, okay, if you were going to create any content for your area, what would you do? Like the documentary stuff is a good side, right? It reminds me of when I thought about Colne Bay Football Club. And this is another part. Did I mention to you the other day about there's that pub called Pavilion in Colne Bay that's up for sale? Did I mention that?
Offline, yeah. But
okay.
Not on pod.
All right, on pod. There's a pub in Colne Bay that's gone bust. It's now for sale for $500K. I think the community should buy it and then convert it into a golf, a swingers club, golf swing, miniature golf place. And have a comedy club upstairs. I think I have mentioned it on the pod. Anyway, you'll hear it too.
You know how you call it crazy golf?
Crazy golf, yeah.
It should be called crazy swingers.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I was showing you the seagull, wasn't I? I was showing you the seagull because I was trying to generate a logo. Like, I think that kind of stuff would be really interesting. And ultimately, documenting the fact that was going to happen would be interesting content. So we're like, hey, croeso I fe Colwyn, da ni di prynu tafarn yma am 500K. Yeah,
Pimp meal.
Pimp meal, yeah. Da ni mewn yma I
siarad.
Da ni yma I convertio a trawsnewid? I don't know. Da ni yma I newid y stafell yma I crazy golf.
Crazy swingers.
Yeah, da ni mynd I galw tafarn yn Seagull. What's Seagull? This is basically why we can't quite create. I think maybe what we should do. This is what we should do. The last 5 minutes of every podcast, dylwn ni siarad Cymraeg I ymarfer a cael what the heck? Yeah, practisio I bod yn well yn siarad. A hefyd, da ni angen gofyn, os da ni rhoi ac yn Cymraeg da ni siarad yn well. So mae'r theori ydy, os da chi'n siarad Saesneg, siaradwch Saesneg efo acen Saesneg. Ac os da chi'n siarad Cymraeg, siaradwch yn Gymraeg efo acen Gymraeg. Wedyn fyddwch chi yn just naturiol yn well.
I feel like I'm going to add this in English first. We'll need...
No, fail. Like, no, you had to say
we'll
Welsh.
Need like a...
Welsh.
No, I didn't say Welsh. This is for the English community. We need like an outro of like the end in English, but then like a startro of like, and this is the Welsh. Like this is the Cymraeg Plus.
Yeah, you have to pay for extra for the Cymraeg Plus version of it as well. Ond mae'n rhy anodd siarad Cymraeg yn oer, like just off the dome, oherwydd mae'n anodd cael y geiriau dod fyny i'r ymenydd ac siarad yn treigl. Dyna beth dwi'n meddwl, anyway.
Yeah.
Like, with a chydig bach o flow.
Mae popeth yn gadael fy mywyd pan dwi'n siarad Gymraeg.
Pam ti'n rhoi acen ar, ti'n siarad yn well, a pan ti'n tynnu'r acen I ffwr.
Oedd mam ddim yn deall oedd ti'n siarad Gymraeg ar y socials.
Be?
Oedd hi'n feddwl oedd o'n rhywun arall a ddim Dan Ryland yn siarad Gymraeg.
Oh, dyna pam, yeah. Oh, so just egluro be.
Oedd mam dweud, pwy oedd y dyn yna yn siarad Gymraeg? Oedd o'n Dan gyda acen.
So dyna pam, like, obviously, da ni ddim yn cymryd y mic. Da ni just yn trio... like
cael yn yr
like communicate yeah, da ni just yn trio like egluro rhywbeth yn glir heb I cael like stopio efo'r hurdles yma sydd yn stopio ni conveying the idea. So mae'n anodd. Dwi'n meddwl pam da ni'n rhoi acen ar, a da ni ddim yn cymryd mic allan o pobl sy'n siarad Cymraeg, da ni jyst yn rhoi acen ar I soundio y mwy, like, cilchol. More rounded. Fwy cilchol yn siarad Cymraeg. A weithiau, os da chi'n gwylio ar YouTube, fedrwch chi gweld bod da ni'n neud funny faces I siarad Cymraeg yn well. Dwi'n meddwl mae'r... os ti'n troi o ffwr ac yn siarad fel person sydd wedi dysgu Cymraeg, mae'n anodd...
fel robot.
Person Saesneg yn siarad Cymraeg a ti'n gallu dweud. Ond os ti'n siarad Cymraeg fel hyn, a da ni'n mynd I ffermio, a dwi'n gwybod...
Dwi'n siwr yn feddwl am the Algeri family pan ni siarad fel yma.
A da ni'n gwybod bod na dim ond fel 2% yn mynd I gwylio darn yma, oherwydd mae pawb yn mynd I troi ffwrdd. A dwi'n meddwl, yn y darn yma, mae'n anodd siarad heb acen. So, be ddylen ni wneud ydy siarad efo acen.
Ti eisiau ni wneud.
Pa acen ti eisiau ni wneud yn mynd y blaen. A efallai, fedrwn ni wneud 2 bersona Cymraeg a like anonymously produce this podcast sydd efo ti a fi heb fideo a da ni just yn siarad Cymraeg hefo acen a just gweld os mae pobl yn sylweddoli bod 2 berson o bai Colwyn siarad Cymraeg.
ASMR neu rhywbeth. Siarad Cymraeg.
Siarad yn isel. Ond dwi'n meddwl mae'n anodd oherwydd does yna ddim lle I wneud mistakes a does yna ddim lle I ymarfer
Neu mae'n yn lle ond ni gyda rhoi
insecurity
permission
I
ni hyn I wneud mistakes o flaen pobl.
Dwi'n meddwl mae hwnna'n iawn. Dwi'n gweithio ar...
Creu lle.
Os o ddim lle, creu lle.
Creu lle, a rhoi bwrdd yna.
Creu lle i'r bwrdd Cymraeg. Da ni'n gweithio ar gwobr I Ysgol y Creuddyn, oherwydd dyna lle da ni'n dod o. Gwobr I Ysgol y Creuddyn, rhoi arian I pobl gwario ar extra tuition, tutor mewn mathemateg neu Cymraeg neu Saesneg I helpu hefo tygau neu A-levels, right? A dwi'n meddwl y peth anodd ydy dwi eisiau mynd yna I awardio'r gwobr, I rhoi'r gwobr I rhywun, ond mae gennau problem oherwydd fedra I ddim siarad Cymraeg yn dda iawn, so mae'n anodd oherwydd dwi eisiau neud o a mae'n dal fi nôl oherwydd dwi'n poeni gormod bod pobl yn mynd I dweud, oh, you came from Creuddyn and you speak like that. Like, it's friggin' embarrassing. So dwi'n meddwl, mae'n rhaid I ni basically bite the bullet a hefyd mae pob reference ni yn like phrases Saesneg so mae'n anodd oherwydd mynd dros ben llestri mae'n anodd taflu mynd dros ben llestri mewn conversation ond efallai mae'n rhaid I ni defnyddio 10 munud olaf o podcast o podlen I siarad Gymraeg
a pod
mwyn I ni ymarfer a da ni'n gwybod bod mae 98% o pobl ddim yma rwan does ddim like mae yna probably 2 person di dal yn ôl I clywed ni siarad Gymraeg a I chi da ni just yn mynd I bod a
ti'n gallu cael 2 mug.
Os mae pobl sy'n gwrando yn neud y theme song yn Gymraeg, mi gewch chi 2 mug a 2 interview. Un yn Saesneg ac un yn Gymraeg.
Neu maen nhw'n gallu aros ar.
Be os da ni'n neud hanner? Hanner cynta yn Saesneg, a wedyn, da ni'n defnyddio y hanner cynta I set the scene, a wedyn yr ail hanner, da ni'n siarad am yr un beth ond yn Gymraeg ac yn trio estynu y conversation. Be di conversation yn Gymraeg? Siarad.
Siarad.
I thought it was trafod, but that's like discuss. A dyma'r problem. Dydy'r geiriau ddim yn dod i'r...
Cyfryn...
Dysgen i ddim.
Teli.
A dyna'r peth sy'n anodd, oherwydd pam ti'n cymryd i gair Saesneg, da ni ddim yn meddwl yn Cymraeg dim mwy. O, dwi'n meddwl, anyway. So, da ni'n meddwl yn Saesneg, a da ni'n cyfieithu ar y ffly i Gymraeg, a pam da ni'n dod i gair Saesneg, dwi eisiau deud, dwi'n stuck, a dwi'n trio dod fyny hefo'r gair Cymraeg, ac os dwi ddim yn gallu dod fyny efo'r gair Cymraeg, dwi'n newid be dwi'n deud. So, yn lle trafod, trafod ydi siarad. Trafod? Yn lle deud, da ni'n mynd i trafod, fysa'n deud, ti'n mynd i rhannu syniadau like, ar y podlen. No, rhywbeth. So, mae'n anodd oherwydd da ni'n newid popeth da ni'n deud. To some extent, da ni'n newid i deud pethau sy'n haws. So, os da chi'n gwrando i ni, efallai byddwch chi'n gwybod beth da ni'n neud, oherwydd da ni'n newid geiriau, a newid o geiriau difficult, anodd, i geiriau haws. So, ond os da chi di aros, reit until y diwedd, ewch i trydar, a trydarwch i ni rhywbeth yn Gymraeg. Hefyd treiglo, yr unig beth dwi'n gwybod o treiglo ydy am yr dandrostrwy hefyd o gan yr thyd. Ydy'r geiriau da chi'n treiglo ar ôl, a dwi'n gwybod pam mae hynny yn dal yn yr ymenydd, ond mae o. So,
da iawn.
Os da chi di aros hyd yn hyn...
Dyna beth dwi'n meddwl.
Rwsiwch lawr y grisiau, dalwch ar brysantau. Os da chi di dal ati hyd yn hyn, dyma ensemble brodyr Ryland yn canu yn Gymraeg i chi. Ond, it is what it is.
Da iawn.
Diolch am aros hyd yn hyn. Efallai bydd y Cymraeg, y podcast Cymraeg yn gwella tro nesa. Tan nasa, carach ymlaen, hwylio y hwyliani. No, hwylion. Taro y hwylion. I literally sound like McElhenney or whatever his name is, like Lynn in Welsh. It's just awful. So, carach ymlaen, hwylio y hwylianion. Hwylion.
Ta-da.